playtime! Yay! Making Godzilla versions of Monopoly and Jenga is such a no-dur, obvious idea that we should have had these years ago. Today on Playtime, we're gonna take a nice close look at these brand new Jenga and Monopoly Godzilla Special Editions. But first, how about some Playtime trivia? What you're looking at here is called Godzilla Game. It is a 1978 game that also saw a full release here in North America. But by what toy company? What toy company released Godzilla Game? Was it Ideal, Bandai, Hasbro, or Mattel? The answer in a little bit. So just for some comparison, here's a classic Jenga sitting next to the Jenga Godzilla Extreme Edition. And while the classic Jenga box does appear wider, I assure you that both towers are the exact same size. And just look at this gorgeous packaging art for Godzilla Jenga. I love it. Including a window so that you could see the pieces with the building designs on them was a nice touch. It's interesting that they reserved Godzilla for the side panels instead of the front panel, but since he's actively destroying the building, it works. Although, wait a minute. This is presented as one continuous image, and yet there's a Godzilla on both sides of the box. Are they saying there's two Godzillas? If you're like me, when you pop the box open and see the pieces, the first thing that's gonna race through your mind is, these look like blocks of clay. But nah, this is indeed a skyscraper for Godzilla to ravage. There's a lot of pieces in here, and we'll get to all of it. My only minor complaint is that the instructions are in a very inconvenient place. They're printed on the back of a cardboard Godzilla that is actually involved in the gameplay, so it's not the most convenient spot to put this important information. Like I said before, these pieces are the exact same size as traditional Jenga pieces. The older Jenga boxes just had more air in them. I personally really enjoy playing Jenga, and it's a nice change of pace for me to see blocks that are a different color design with windows printed on them. Alright, setup. The biggest Godzilla fan assembles the tower. Do not bring this game to G-Fest or a fight will break out. And here it is, my beautiful Jenga tower. So there are two ways to play this. The first way is just play it like a traditional Jenga game. The first player removes a block from somewhere in the tower and then places it on top of the tower. Player 2 then does the same thing, removes a block from the tower and places it on top of the tower. And it just goes around to all players until the tower finally falls. Now the new way to play this that's specific to this exact version is actually pretty neat. First you gotta lay down this, I guess it's kind of like a game board here. Then you gotta place this cardboard Godzilla. And oh, don't forget to put his atomic breath in. Now this is kinda neat, it looks cool. Maybe I'm being a little too greedy here, but it might have been cool to have some sort of figure of Godzilla instead of a cardboard picture of him. And honestly, if you wanted to play it that way, you could swap out the cardboard with one of your soft vinyl Godzillas. So here's how it works. Player 1 rolls the die. The die will land on one of these symbols. Here we have an O with a slash through it. We have to consult our key to see what that means, but like I said earlier, the important information is printed on the back of the cardboard Godzilla. Anyway, we can see from the key that the circle with the slash just means that the player loses their turn. Player 2 rolls the die. Got another crazy hieroglyphic here. Godzilla advances one space, then the active player removes and stacks the amount of blocks indicated on the game board track. Then the play direction reverses. Which I guess doesn't matter much if it's only two players. So true to the directions, we will advance Godzilla one space. The space he lands on still says to pull just one block, so player 2 will pull one block and place it on top of the tower. Now I am getting mighty tired of pulling this Godzilla off of the game board to look at the directions and key on the back. So I propose a little hack. Take a friggin' picture of the hieroglyphic key with your smartphone. There, now I won't have to take Godzilla out of the game anymore. Player 1 rolls the die and gets arrow up 2 and a butt plug of some sort. The 2 means that Godzilla will advance 2 spaces. But luckily he's still landing on spots that say pull 1. But player 2 just rolled and got the butt plug times 2. When you consult the key, this means Godzilla does not advance, but the player has to pull twice as many blocks as indicated on the spot Godzilla sits. Godzilla's sitting on a pull 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Player 2 pulls 2 blocks. Now eventually, Godzilla is going to be sitting on pull 2, maybe even pull 3 blocks. That means that if Godzilla's on the pull 3, and you roll a time 2, you have to pull 6 blocks in a single turn. I actually really like this second version of how to play. It makes for much quicker games with higher stakes. It's a nice variant. If you don't own Jenga and you'd like to get one, I highly recommend the Godzilla version, because you get the classic Jenga game and you get this pretty neat variant. Back to our trivia question on what toy company distributed the 1978 Godzilla game. If you guessed D, Mattel, you would be correct. And this is just a great vintage game. I'd love to cover this on the show sometime in the near future as well. Now let's move on to Godzilla Monster Edition Monopoly. And while I will say that this box art is really cool, it does feel like there was a missed opportunity to make this a true crossover. I don't own a regular Monopoly, so for comparison here, we're gonna look at this side by side with this Japanese-only Ultraman Monopoly. So first we have our Godzilla dollars. A little bummed they don't say "In Godzilla We Trust," but maybe that's blasphemy, I don't know. The game board itself is just rich and vibrant with color. I love it. And this board is just brimming with references to the films. Instead of properties, there are famous monster locations. Owado Island, Godzilla Tower. There are some deep cuts in this game. Of course, the most coveted properties you're gonna want are gonna be Monster Island and Infant Island. There's even space locations, M Space Hunter Nebula, the Orion constellation, each represented with the kaiju associated with that area. For contrast, here's the Ultraman Monopoly board, and it's a little less visually vibrant, a little more in line with what a standard Monopoly board would look like. And there are plenty of characters represented. I just don't feel like the graphic presentation is quite as strong with this one. In Ultraman Monopoly, all of the game pieces are different colored little plastic Ultramans. This is where Godzilla Monopoly really shines. In the spirit of traditional Monopoly, each piece here is a gorgeous little metal kaiju. They look great, they have some nice weight, they feel like value. Here's Godzilla and Rodan. And then we got a Mothra, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla. Manila? Why'd they include Manila? Give us Gigan or Anguirus or someone. Manila's gonna be the thimble of this version. No giant diversions from standard Monopoly gameplay here. Player 1 rolls the die and advances their kaiju. If the player lands on the property, they have the option to purchase that property. If they decline, the property goes to auction. If player 1 owns the property and then player 2 lands on said property, player 2 will have to pay player 1 a slight fee. Eventually, a player will own all properties of a single color. When that happens, that player can begin building facilities on the property. If player 2 lands on one of these properties that has facilities built on them, then player 2 has to pay a lot more cash. Most games of Monopoly end with somebody getting frustrated and quitting. What else can I say? I'm really happy with Monopoly Godzilla Monster Edition. I love that it includes so much classic Godzilla lore. I'm really grateful it got released here in North America, and I'm just really happy with the visual presentation. I see no reason to not recommend the Godzilla versions of Monopoly and Jenga, especially if these are games you actually enjoy and will play. And as of this video, these are new and available in stores right now. How often do I get to say that on a playtime? Anyway, let me know what you think about the Jenga and Monopoly Godzilla editions in the comments below. And also let me know what other classic games deserve the Godzilla treatment. Personally, I think we're overdue for a Godzilla version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.